Good morning, viewers. My name is Teacher Edwin Yose. I welcome you to this science class, Food and Nutrition. I'm a teacher by profession, and I teach at a school. So stay tuned, you'll enjoy the lesson. So, this topic called food and nutrition, it is commonly exam, and in KCPE level, questions. For example, if I look at the year 2016, there were 3 questions that were set from the topic. The year 2017, there was also 3 questions that were set. 2018 again, they set 3 questions. It's only last year they set 2 questions, which was number 10 and number 11. So, I hope as I take you through this topic, take it very keen because it must always come in exam. So, this lesson here, it covers from class 1, popularly known as now as grade 1, up to class 8. Before I begin to take you through, we want to know what is the difference between food and then nutrition, as the name suggests. Food is any substance that is taken in the body by either eating or drinking in order to maintain good health. Remember, medicine is not food. So anything, any solid substance that we take, rather than we eat or drink, that is what we call food. But remember, medicine we take inside the body, but we don't group it as food. Nutrients, on the other hand, they are healthy substances that are found in the food we eat. And then we come to this one called nutrition. Nutrition is the process of providing the body with the nutrients that we get in this food. I hope you have understood the difference between food, nutrition, and then nutrients. Learners mostly confuse the word nutrition and malnutrition. Malnutrition, on the other hand, is lack of these nutrients that we get inside the food we eat. So as you are going on with these ones, make sure you know that malnutrition, this one is from a disease because we lack these nutrients. Now, I want to take you hand in hand in this class, what we have covered, starting from grade 1, or popularly known as class 1. In class 1, we learned about something called foods eaten in the community. The foods that we ate in the community, 1, we have those foods that we eat in the community, and in class 1 they talked about the food that we eat in the morning. Those ones we say is known as breakfast. The food we eat at lunch or noontime, we call it lunch. And then the food that we eat in the evening, we grouped it as dinner or supper. Grade 1. In class 2, we learned about handling food, and this one majorly is hygiene. How do you handle food? 1, we should clean our hands before eating. 2, we should clean food. The food that we eat when it is raw, for example, a carrot, we are supposed to wash it before eating it. And then 3, how to clean utensils. If you have eaten something and it has got oil on it, you are supposed to wash with soapy water and it should be warm. That one is what we learned about food in grade 2. And you can realize in class 2, class 1, 2, and 3, this topic was known as foods because the word nutrition was somehow hectic to learners. In grade 3, we learned about good behavior when having meals. This good behavior includes you are not supposed to lick fingers when you are having meals. You are not supposed to talk while the food is inside the mouth. You are not supposed even to pass food to another people when they are far away from you. In short, good behavior when having meals is what is known as table manners. In class 4, we learned about the functions of food. The functions of food, we have 1, food enable us, they give us energy. Food gives us energy. That is the first function of food. The second function of food, it protects us from sickness. Protects us from sickness. The third function of food, it enables us to grow, and it also makes us to stay alive. And then in the same class 5, class 4, we learned about basic food groups. We have 3 basic food groups in science. The first basic food group is energy-giving food. The second basic food group that we learned in class 4, we have got bodybuilding food. And then the third one, we have got protective food. Those are the 3 main basic food groups that we have in science. However, we have those nutrients that are found in these basic food groups. And these nutrients that we have in these groups, we have got now carbohydrate is the first nutrient. The second nutrient we have got vitamins. The third nutrient, we have got proteins. The fourth one, we have got minerals. And then the last one, we have got fats and oils. So the nutrients, I repeat, the nutrients that are found in this food. Number 1, we have got what we call carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is the first nutrient. Number 2, we have got proteins, is the second nutrient. Number 3, we have got vitamins. Number 4, we have got fats and oils. And then number 5, we have got what we call minerals. So many learners confuse about the basic food groups and then these nutrients that we found in these 3 basic food groups. So under energy-giving food, we know that carbohydrates and fats and oil are the main sources of energy-giving foods. When we come to bodybuilding food, proteins are the main source of bodybuilding food. When we come to something called protective food, vitamins is the one that protect us from sickness. That's why we usually say vitamins is also known as protective food. Again, we also say carbohydrates is also known as energy-giving food. On the other hand, we also say proteins are also called bodybuilding food because they enable us to grow and they enable us to repair the worn-out tissues. So in this class 4, that's where they introduced the word basic food groups, and they introduced the sources of these basic food groups. For example, the main sources of this thing called carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, we obtain them from, number 1, cereals. Carbohydrates, we obtain them from cereals. All energy-giving foods, cereals gives us energy. And the examples of cereals we have got millet. Millet is the first source of cereal crop. We have got rice is the second source of food, this food crop known as carbohydrate. We have got something called maize. Maize is a source of carbohydrate. We have got barley. Barley is a source of carbohydrate. And then we have got sorghum. We have got wheat. And then we have got oat. These are the main sources of energy-giving food under cereals. I have got a short formula there called Mirimaba Soweo. You can see millet, rice, maize, barley, sorghum, wheat, and then oat. these are the main sources of what we call energy-giving food. Apart from these things called cereals, all tubers, we group them as energy-giving food, apart from a tuber crop known as carrot, because we know carrot is a preventive food, protective food. We have got something called, again, turnip. Turnip is a vegetable that we eat the roots. We have got something also called radishes. It is a vegetable that we eat the roots. So all tubers and cereals give us energy. If we come to this other thing called bodybuilding food, bodybuilding foods, as I said earlier, it is also known as proteins. Bodybuilding foods are obtained from, one, we obtain bodybuilding foods from animal products. And when I talk about animal products, I'm talking about those products that we learned in class 4, animal products. And these animal products, we have something like meat, popularly known as beef, or pork, or mutton. When I talk about meat, it's the general name. The meat of a fish is called fillet. The meat that we obtain from cow or cattle, we call it beef. The meat from goat and sheep, we call it mutton. And then we have got also another source of proteins. We call them legumes. Legumes we obtain from those plants that store their food in the cotyledon. And these legumes, they are found inside the pods. And examples of legumes, we have got green grams, we have got peas, we have got groundnuts, we have got beans themselves. So these ones, when you eat them, we also get what we call proteins. And then when you come to this thing called protective food, preventive food, I mean, the ones that prevent us from sickness, we have got what we call vitamins. So vitamins is obtained mainly from, one, fruits, and then two, vegetables. All fruits give us vitamins, except something called green banana. A green banana, when we cook it, we call it matoke. Or when we cook it, we call it mashed bananas. Green banana is a source of carbohydrate. Many learners confuse it. They think that bananas, because we eat them, we get vitamins from it. So a green banana, it is energy giving. But a ripe banana, it is protective food. In Standard 5, which is the cornerstone of food and nutrition, we learned about importance of water and fiber in the diet. And this one, many learners confuse the importance of water and the importance of fiber. The importance of water that we have in the diet, importance of water that we have, the first one, water helps in digestion. It assists us when we are digesting food because it assists us in dissolving the food that we eat. Number two, this water, it helps us in cooling the body. When we sweat, we cool ourselves. So cooling the body is the function of water. Number three, water prevents us from dehydration, prevents the body from dehydration. To dehydrate is to lack water inside the body. So this one prevents us from dehydration. You cannot feel as if you have something called a hiccup. This water also, it helps in the formation of blood. The liquid part of blood, we call it plasma. So it also assists us in making blood. Number four, it helps us in making blood. When we come on the other hand, this thing called fiber, fiber is also known as roughage. Roughages are these things that we found on whole grain, and we also find them in cereal. Whole grain, and then you can get it even in some of these cereals. So fibers, they have no nutritive value. It has no nutrients. When we come to digestive system, you'll find it is never digested somewhere. So this fiber helps one in the movement of food. KCPE 2015, they set a question like that. They asked the importance of fiber in the diet. The answer was movement of food. So this fiber assists in movement of food. Number two, this fiber also prevents what we call constipation. Fiber prevents constipation. It does not help in constipation. It prevents constipation. Many learners go to helping constipation. Constipation is the tendency or whereby you miss something called, you have got difficulty in emptying the bowel. When you want to go to remove the undigested food materials, you will find that you have got some difficulty and will take some time to adjust. So the thing that facilitates so that you can remove those undigested food materials properly, it is what we call roughages. This roughage also, it helps to remove undigested food material. We know feces is the other name for those food that is not digested in the body. It comes outside in form of feces. So fiber help us to remove that undigested food material. In this class 5 again, we learned about nutritional deficiency diseases. The nutritional deficiency disease, the word deficiency is lack of. In short, nutritional deficiency disease are those diseases that you obtain when you lack these nutrients that we learned in class 4 in the body. So if you lack protein, there's a certain disease you can get it. If you take a lot of carbohydrates, you will get something, you will get some disease there. If you lack some minerals in the body, you will get some diseases. If you lack something else like vitamins, you will also get some abnormalities on the body. So the basic nutritional deficiency diseases that are commonly tested in KCPE, we have got kwashiorkor, marasmus, anemia, and then we have got rickets. Kwashiorkor, marasmus, anemia, and then rickets. Marasmus is a disease that is caused by lack of all nutrients in the body. In short, you must take what we call a balanced diet so that you cannot obtain this thing called marasmus. This disease affects both children and then adults. So if you are an adult, you can get marasmus. If you are a child, you can still get what? Marasmus. So this one does not attack only children, but even grown-ups, because it is due to starvation. Kwashiorkor, on the other hand, it mainly attacks or affects the babies that are below 5 years. And this one normally comes, we shall learn in class 8 something called weaning. When they have been stopped from drinking milk, the breast milk, you will find that they don't want to take any other food. Or when the mothers are giving them some food, they give them just rich in carbohydrates. They forget that they need proteins in the body. So kwashiorkor is a disease that is caused due to lack of proteins inside the body. We have got another disease here known as anemia. Anemia is a disease that is caused due to lack of what we call iron. You lack this mineral known as iron, and iron is used in the formation of blood. It helps us to make blood. So if you lack it, you can get what we call anemia. Anemia does not affect somebody that lacks iron. It can also affect somebody that has kwashiorkor, because it is one of the signs and symptoms of kwashiorkor. Kwashiorkor, on the other hand, I had talked about it, but I want to go there again. Kwashiorkor and marasmus, they have got some similar characteristics. Kwashiorkor, a learner or a child can have alert eyes. Marasmus, again, a child can have alert eyes. In kwashiorkor, a child can cry a lot as elaborated in primary science class 5. In marasmus, again, primary science class 5, they have said the child cries a lot. So it means crying a lot and then alert eyes. They are both signs and symptoms of marasmus and kwashiorkor. So marasmus, the child or the baby, when he's suffering from marasmus, he appears to be emaciated or looks like an old person. Marasmus, the child cries a lot. In marasmus, the child becomes dull, lacks play. The muscles wear off and disappears. We have got this disease called rickets again. Rickets, on the other hand, it is a disease that is caused due to lack of vitamin D. Vitamin D we obtain from sunlight, and we have got also other sources of vitamin D, the foods that we eat. We have got different vitamins in the body. If you lack vitamin A assists in making of what? So that it facilitates that you can have good eyesight. Vitamin B help us in proper development of the brain. Vitamin B again help us in making the skin so that it can be very smooth. This vitamin B again, it also assists us so that we can do what? Digest the food that we eat properly. Vitamin B. That's why you learn somewhere lack of vitamin B can cause a disease called beriberi. Vitamin C help us in preventing a disease called scurvy. Scurvy is a disease whereby you have got what we call the bleeding gums or gingivitis, or we call it gum disease. Vitamin C also help us to have proper gums and teeth. Vitamin D is the one that prevents us from this disease now known as rickets. Vitamin E help us to improve our reproductive system. In short, the fertility. And then vitamin K is the one that helps in clotting of blood. When we come to minerals, the minerals we have three. The first one we have calcium. Calcium is the mineral that helps us in clotting of blood. So they can ask you, which mineral and which vitamin help in the formation of blood, clotting of blood clotting process? We shall find it is vitamin K, and then you have got calcium. Many learners go for iron, but iron, it helps in making blood. It does not help in clotting of blood. The other thing, the sources of this calcium. Calcium is a mineral. This mineral can help us somewhere. This mineral also has got some sources because it is very nutritive in the body and help us so that we can have strong bones, we can have strong teeth, something like that, phosphorus. So the sources of calcium we have, number one, we have got both of them, most of them begin with the letter M. We have got milk, a source of calcium. Another source of calcium that begins with the letter M, we have millet. Millet begins with the letter M. We have got something known as matumbo, as elaborated in primary science class 5. And then we have got another one known as small fish. These are the sources of calcium we have in the body. Small fish, some books they write them as omena. This one is popularly known as Kisumu boys in the other place there. So this one, omena here, is the only one that does not have an M. So the sources of calcium we have in the body, we have these ones I have written here. When we come to something called phosphorus, phosphorus helps in formation of strong bones and teeth. And then we have got another mineral known as iron. Iron, it is the one that helps in the making of blood. So many learners confuse about the mineral that helps in clotting of blood and the mineral that helps in clotting of blood. So I think now I'm clear there. The mineral that helps in clotting of blood is calcium. The mineral that helps in making blood or formation of blood, and we know the liquid part of blood is plasma. That one now we go for what we call iron. In Standard 6, under Food and Nutrition, we learned about food preservation. Under food preservation, we grouped it into two parts. We have got traditional methods of preserving food, and then we have got modern methods of preserving food. Under traditional methods of preserving food, we have got 1, smoking. We have got 2, drying. Smoking, as we learned in class 6, it is a method of preserving food, and it preserves food by dehydration. Smoke has a natural chemical. If they ask the traditional method of preserving food that has a natural chemical, we go for smoking. Number 2, we have drying. Drying dehydrates the food, or dehydration is removing water. Use of honey preserves food by removing air. Use of low temperature. When we talk about traditional method of preserving food, in our mind, we should have something called a charcoal cooler. A charcoal cooler is commonly known as use of low temperature, and this one preserves food through a principle called evaporation. Evaporation causes what we call a cooling effect. The other thing that we learned there is salting. Salting preserves food by dehydration or removing water. Many learners usually think that the main reason for adding salt in the food is to add flavor. Salt does not add flavor. Okay, it adds flavor, yes, but the main reason we add salt to the food is to prevent food from doing what? Going bad. So we preserve food so that we can have it in the future. We went to modern methods of preserving food, and under modern methods of preserving food, we have got 1, canning. Canning is a modern method that preserves food by removing air. The food is heated and then placed inside cans or tins. And then when we come to this thing called pasteurization. Pasteurization is a modern method that is used to preserve milk. The other thing that is modern, we have got what we call use of low temperature. Use of low temperature is both traditional and modern. But when we talk about modern method of preserving food, we look at something called refrigerator. We look at refrigeration and freezing. So refrigeration and freezing is here. You can see under traditional, I placed use of low temperature, a charcoal cooler. When I come to modern method, use of low temperature, here we talk about refrigeration. Because we know a fridge, popularly known as a fridge, this one uses electricity. And then this thing, the other one in traditional, a charcoal cooler, it is found in places that lack electricity. So in rural areas, some rural areas, they don't have electricity, so they cannot acquire something called a fridge. So in short, they take something known as a charcoal cooler, or they take a cloth, a piece of cloth, they cover milk with it, and then that cloth helps in evaporation. When that water evaporates, it causes a cooling effect, and that cooling effect, it is the one that helps the milk not to go bad. In Standard 7, we did not have anything known as food and nutrition. It was muted there. But before I go to class 7, I'm still at class 6. There was a point I noted somewhere. The ones that are both traditional and modern. We have got drying. When you talk about drying, we can group it as both modern and traditional method of preserving food. We have got also use of low temperature. use of low temperature is both modern and traditional method of preserving food. A point to note is that use of vinegar to preserve food is known as pickling. Use of vinegar to preserve food, we call it pickling. And I know some learners might ask, use of vinegar to preserve food, is it traditional or modern method? Use of vinegar, mostly we group it as a modern method of preserving food because vinegar improves the shelf life of a food or a substance. For example, if something that has not been pasteurized like milk, we can dip it in vinegar, and then when we want to sell it, it can even remain on the shelf for more than a period of 7 days or a week or even a month. So that's why we group it as what we call a modern method. And then in Standard 8, we learn now about nutritional requirements for special groups. So under class 8 in this topic in the syllabus, we have nutritional requirements for special groups. And these special groups, we have got nutritional requirement for pregnant women, nutritional requirements for lactating mothers in the syllabus. Number 4, we have got nutritional requirements for infants. We shall learn who an infant is. And then we have got nutritional requirements for people living with HIV and AIDS. And then lastly, in this one, we shall learn about food poisoning. And then under that one, we shall learn about ways of preventing food poisoning. So in class 8, where I want to dwell mostly, it is about the special groups. Which are these special groups? Why do they call them special? It does not mean we are not special. But these ones, we group them as special because of some things. Special groups are people with special nutritional requirements. There are these groups that require certain nutrients. Even us, although we are not under special groups, we know we are supposed to take a balanced diet every day so that we can maintain good health. Remember the food, as I said, it enables us to grow. It enables us to protect us from diseases and sickness or infection. It repairs the worn out tissues. When you have a cut somewhere, it is the food that will enable you to heal that wound. Food also enables us to stay alive. Without food, we can starve to death. That's why I said marasmus is as a result of starvation. So these special groups, they are classified according to two things. They are grouped. Classification of these special groups depends on, number one, the age of the person. We shall look at the age. When I talk about the age, we can realize I'll group the elderly or the aged people, wazee. I have got the sick people. Okay, sick are not the age. The infants, watoto. When we talk about the health of the learners or health of the other people, we look at how they are. If somebody is sick, if somebody is recovering from sickness, is somebody suffering from a particular disease, or is somebody undergoing a particular thing. So we look at the age and health when we are grouping these special groups. So I want to look at these special groups. Examples of special groups that we have in science, we have pregnant mothers. Pregnant mothers are also known as expectant mothers. And then we have got lactating mothers. Lactating mothers, we also call them breastfeeding mothers, or we call them nursing mothers. In grade 1, we were told that a nurse is the person who takes care of a sick person. A doctor treats the sick person. Now, a nursing mother is that mother who is taking care of the baby. That is called a nursing mother or a lactating mother. A lactating cow is that one that has got a calf. So a lactating mother has got a baby who suckles the mammary glands. So that's why the breastfeeding mother is also known as the lactating mother or a nursing mother. And then we have got infants. Infants are these children that are below a certain age. We shall learn which age is that. Another special group, we have got people suffering from HIV and AIDS. These are people who have got this disease and they need a special meal so that can sustain them and they can stay alive for a long period of time. We have got another special group known as convalescents. Convalescents are those people that are recovering from sickness. You are sick, now you are recovering. Right now, as you can see, the country is experiencing COVID. Those people who are isolated and then they have been tested, they are negative. They are placed somewhere, or they were once positive. Now they were tested and the results became negative. They are placed somewhere so that they can see if they are doing what, they can recover fully. So you'll find these ones, we group them as convalescents. And then invalids. Invalids are those sick people. When somebody is sick, we say he is invalid. And then we have got somebody called, and then we have got another group of special group known as the elderly. The elderly people or the aged are these people who are very old. A 90-year-old person, 70-year-old person, they require a particular meal. As for them, they don't need a lot of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, they give us energy. And this energy enables us to do some work. As for them, they don't have energy to go to the shamba to dig. They don't require energy to go and look for something. They just sit there. So most of them, their meals, we must include something called vitamins so that it can protect them from sickness. The other special group is manual workers. Manual workers are those workers mostly that are found on construction site, watu wa mjengo, these ones. On construction site, you can find these people, they cannot just drink porridge and then they go there, they work for the whole day. They need a lot of energy-giving food because they are using a lot of energy to do their work. So manual workers are examples of special groups we have in science. Another special group that we have in science, and I did not include it there for a special reason, but it is more commonly tested. It is the adolescent girl. Adolescent girl can be grouped as a special group. Why? Because it requires a particular nutrient so that she can replace that blood loss during menstruation. As we know, the main sign of menstruation, the main sign of adolescent in girls is menstruation. So when they reach that stage, they lose a lot of blood when they are shedding off the remnants of the ovum together with the uterine wall. So you'll find that they are supposed to take food that is rich in iron so that they can eat it and then they can regain the blood that was lost. Because as I said earlier, iron is used in the formation of blood. Now let us look at nutritional requirement for the first group, known as expectant mother. An expectant mother, they need to eat a balanced diet with additional vitamins. One, they must eat a balanced diet. That balanced diet must include additional vitamins, mineral salts, and proteins. An expectant mother requires, number one, proteins. Proteins assist him for proper growth and development of the fetus. In short, when somebody is expectant, the main food that he or she eats, it helps the baby to grow or to develop. When the baby is inside the womb, we call him the fetus. We have got the stages of fetal development. We know the zygote, embryo. Now we come to the fetus. This fetus, it needs something called what? Food called protein so that it can grow, because proteins help us to grow. The other one, we have got the importance of these proteins, maintenance of the health of the mother. The other nutrient that the mother requires in the diet is vitamins. Vitamins protects and maintains the health of the mother, protects the mother and the unborn baby. The mother needs to be protected from sickness. Even the unborn baby needs to be healthy. So these vitamins protects the mother and the baby. Carbohydrates, on the other hand, when the expectant mother takes carbohydrates, it ensures the proper growth of the baby by providing energy. Iron, which is used in making of blood, we know, is for healthy blood and circulation of oxygen to organs of the body. And then you have got something called iron. It has three functions. It guards against occurrence of anemia. Lack of iron causes anemia. So it guards or protects or prevents occurrence of anemia. It is useful also in the formation of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the red coloring matter in the blood. When you talked in class 7 about the red blood cells, you are told they do not have what we call a nucleus. Instead, they have hemoglobin, which is the red coloring matter. It combines with oxygen. And then they also need calcium and vitamin D. Earlier, I said calcium is used in formation of what? Bones. Vitamin D also, it helps in formation of strong bones and prevents rickets. To promote, this one promotes the formation of healthy bones and teeth. When a baby lacks vitamin D and is not yet born, he does not get rickets. He acquires a disease known as brittle bones. The bones become very weak. We don't say he has rickets. We say he has got what we call the brittle bones. We go to another nutritional requirement for a lactating mother. As I said earlier, lactating mother are those mothers that are breastfeeding or nursing their children. So a breastfeeding mother needs a balanced diet that will enrich the breast milk as well as promote her health. The first one, he needs enough fluid. He must take a lot of fluid. These fluids helps in the production of breast milk to increase milk production. Some books say like that. Proteins, on the other hand, to repair the worn out tissues. These nursing mothers, when they were giving birth, the cervix dilated. So they need to heal the wound that was left when the baby was coming out. So they require these proteins so that they can heal or nurse their wounds. And in short, it also helps them to recover. Carbohydrates, it gives them energy. They can now walk as they need to do some work. Iron, on the other hand, a mother who is lactating should take a lot of iron. Iron helps the mother to replace or to replenish the blood lost during delivery. During the birth process or parturition, the mother loses a lot of blood because when the baby is coming outside, blood must also come out. So this blood, when it is coming out, you'll find she has lost some good amount of blood. So it needs iron to replace or replenish the blood lost during delivery. Another mineral that is required in the body, we have got of the lactating mother, we have phosphorus, calcium, and magnesium. These three minerals, they are needed for strong bones and teeth of the baby. They are needed for strong bones and teeth of the baby. So those are the main nutritional requirements for lactating mother. One, you must know all these special groups, they must have a balanced diet. Now we go to nutritional requirement for infants. An infant or infants are those newborn babies below the age of 2 years. Those that are born and they are still below 2 years, we call them infants. When they are still inside the womb, I've said they are called fetus. When now we deliver them, the mothers deliver them, we call them baby. Now after being delivered, they are now suckling milk. We now call them infants, those that are below the age of 2 years. So these infants are mainly fed on breast milk for up to 6 months before weaning. We shall learn this word weaning. What is it? Weaning, what is it? We shall learn the meaning of this word. Weaning is the gradual introduction of solid food. It is not rapid. The key word there is gradual. Pole pole. You introduce slowly. The gradual introduction of solid food into the infant's diet, we call it weaning. Weaning begins at the age of 4 to 6 months. In short, according to these doctors, mothers are supposed to breastfeed their children for up to 6 months without taking anything, because milk is their balanced diet they have. So examples of weaning foods, the ones that are introduced, we have got mashed bananas, we have got mashed potatoes. Weaning food should be balanced in order to provide all the required food nutrients. You can see mashed bananas. As I told you, mashed bananas are sources of carbohydrates. If you just give them carbohydrates and you don't give them another nutrients, they'll now begin to develop now a disease called kwashiorkor, because kwashiorkor affects children that are below 5 years. And then weaning food should be easily digested. So when you are making this weaning food, it should not be hard, because the digestive system of the baby is not yet strong. So it should be very, very easily digested so that the baby cannot even constipate. Because if they take a lot of hard food, they will constipate, and constipation causes what we call bowel cancer, the cancer of the bowel. Now, these infants, they have got something called breast milk they take a lot. So breast milk is a fluid produced by the mammary glands of the mother. The fluid produced by the mammary glands. All mammals have mammary glands. So this fluid that comes out of the nipple is what we call now breast milk. The first breast milk from the mother soon after giving birth is known as colostrum. Be it a dog, be it a cat, be it a cow, because it is a mother, it is a feminine. The first milk should be yellowish. That yellowish color is very important, and it is commonly tested in exam. The first yellow milk, colostrum, is very important. The main reason why the baby should take it, it is because it boosts the immune system. So this colostrum is thick and yellowish in color. The main function of colostrum is to boost the baby's immunity. In standard 4, we learned that immunity is the ability of the body to defend itself against infection. So when they take this colostrum, it has got all the nutrients, and the baby is prevented from getting any disease at that age. So the baby is able to resist any illness and allergies. Advantages of breast milk we have. One, the main advantages or the value of breast milk or advantages. One, it is balanced. The cheapest balanced diet for an infant is breast milk. Number two, it is convenient. Convenient means it is readily available. Number three, provides immunity. And I told you the main reason why they are supposed to take this thing called colostrum is to boost their immune system. It was tested in the year 2016, number 31. Is at the right temperature because it comes direct from the mother to the baby. The breast milk is free from germs, or some books they say it is free from pathogens. It is easily digested. It improves mental development of baby. Initially I said vitamin B helps in formation of brain, making the brain or proper working of brain. So it means this breast milk has got what we call vitamin B, which improves the mental development of the baby. Now the next one, it bonds the relationship between the mother and the baby because the mother is closer to where the baby is. And then the other one, it contains enough water and sugar. Because whatever the mother takes, now the mother is the factory. Whatever she takes, a lactating mother, she'll take enough fluid. That fluid increased milk production. She'll take a lot of carbohydrates, energy. She'll take a lot of proteins to protect him. Proteins to repair the worn out tissues and also add some nutritive value in the breast milk. The other one, now we go to disadvantages of this breast milk. Everything that has advantage, as we know, always has a disadvantage. The first disadvantage, it may not be available in case the mother passes on. In some instances, you find that the mother was delivering and then accidentally she passes on. During parturition or birth process, when the baby was coming out, maybe the mother pushed until she passed away. So you'll find this mother or this infant will not breastfeed the milk of the mother. So the main disadvantage here now, when the mother passes, this milk cannot be available. You will look for another alternative. The second disadvantage, it curtails the movement of the mother since she has to be present to provide the baby with the breast milk. The other one, you should note that breastfeeding should continue up to the age of at least 2 years. So as you introduce this weaning food, make sure the baby still breastfeeds so that the immune system can be very strong and you can do 2 or 3 things. The other nutritional requirement for people is people living with HIV/AIDS. These ones we know the immune system is very weak. And because it is weak, we are supposed to boost it a little bit. So how can we boost it? One, they must take a balanced diet. That one is the first requirement for any group. In addition, their food should be rich in proteins. These proteins helps in to repair the worn out tissues, to rebuild body cells destroyed by opportunistic diseases, and then vitamins and mineral salts, they are needed in their body. Vitamins and minerals, they boost their immune and protect them against opportunistic diseases. In class 5, we learned that opportunistic diseases is also known as secondary infection. Opportunistic diseases, we call them secondary infection. As I wind up, because of time, they need carbohydrates. Carbohydrates give them extra energy and enable their bodies to become active once again. Remember now their immune is weak, so carbohydrates give them energy to talk. And you'll find in primary science class 8, they say fats and oil, because it's a source of energy. It is the one that gives them something called, it's the one that gives them energy now to walk and move from one place to another. Okay, so we have got this thing called, so carbohydrates give them extra energy. They are supposed to take plenty of fluids. This plenty of fluids helps to replace the water lost through diarrhea. One of the opportunistic diseases is diarrhea. And then fiber or roughage to help in digestive system and to get rid of what we call, to get rid of waste effectively. Now, because of time, I want to look at something here. Let me answer some questions that I have seen. I can see here, there's a question from Daisy. Hi Daisy, I am Daisy from Ruiru. What is the best method of preserving fish? The best method of preserving fish, we have 2. If you want to preserve it for a longer period of time, the best method of preserving it is by drying. If you want to preserve it while it is still fresh, the best method of preserving it is by refrigeration. So that one, it depends how they have set the question. And from Uthiru Primary, Which nutritional deficiency disease is likely to be suffered by mothers of newly born babies? This one is a question that was tested last year. It was question number 10. They asked the same question. The nutritional deficiency disease that is suffered by mothers of newly born babies, it is anemia, because they lose blood. That's why we said they're supposed to take a lot of iron so that they can do what? They can recover the blood lost. We have got another one. Which one of the following is not a major protective food? We have milk, pumpkin, mutton, and then kales. Which one is not a major protective food? So in short, which one is not a main protective food? The answer here becomes pumpkin. Pumpkin is on minerals. It has got what we call phosphorus. It's Rebecca from, this one is from Rebecca. Which method of food preservation preserves by removing oxygen? Oxygen is the other name for air. The method of preserving food by removing air, if they ask traditionally, it is use of honey. If they ask the modern method, it is by canning. If both of them are on the answers, the best one is canning, because they heat and then they cover and seal the tin so that it cannot, the air cannot enter inside again. We have got another one. It's Rebecca again asking, who are convalescents? Convalescents, as I said earlier, there are those people who are recovering from sickness. People that are recovering from sickness, we call them convalescent. What is the function of placenta? Enoch from Nakuru, candidate class 8. Now, placenta is not under food and nutrition, but I can answer it. The function of placenta, one, it nourishes the fetus, or it feeds the fetus. The placenta, again, it facilitates exchange of oxygen between the mother and the fetus. Placenta, again, assists in waste product removal from the fetus towards the mother. And remember, this one is the organ of contact between the mother and the baby. And then we have got another one here. My name is Joy from Ngong Hills in Kajiado. Is carrot source of vitamin A, B, D, and E? The answer is the carrot is a source of vitamin A. That's why we usually say lack of vitamin A, it causes night blindness. And the best food that you can eat that can prevent you from this night blindness is carrot. So the main example of sources of vitamin A, we have carrot. I have got another one here. What is the importance of phosphorus and calcium? I believe it is Joy again from Ngong Hills. The importance of phosphorus and calcium in the body is for formation of strong bones and teeth. Hi, I'm Ross. In which group is coconut grouped in? Coconut is an oil crop, so it is energy-giving food. You can look for example of that question. It came in KCPE, so it is energy-giving food. And from Mutiru, that one I've answered. So thank you very much for this session.